So at 9, I grabbed the milk crate, flipped it over, had a hammer, hammered it out. That was my basketball hoop. I couldn't afford anything. Basketball saved my life.
Today on the show, we have former college and pro hooper, a former member of the Harlem Globetrotters, Harold Lefty Williams, is up next. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today's guest is a 15-year pro basketball player and a former member of the world-famous Harlem Globetrotters. Today, he's the co-founder and president of the Harlem Dreams and the founder of the Dare to Dream Foundation. Welcome to the show, Harold Lefty Williams.
How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Hey, how you feeling, Lefty?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm with you, man. Guinness
I
Book
know
of World
you're
Records.
in that good California weather, man. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah,
I'm a little jealous, man.
It's only 89 today.
Oh, look at just rub it in. Why don't you rub it in?
Okay, before we get into our conversation with Lefty, we would love for you to take a few minutes and show us some love by giving us a 5-star review on Apple. These reviews help other people find our podcast, and we have so many great conversations and so much that anyone, not only athletes, can learn from. So now let's get into our conversation with Lefty. Michael, you want to kick it off?
All right, before we get started, I want to say I give a shout out to one of my teammates. He was actually my teammate and Lefty's teammate at the same time. Me and Lefty, we didn't play together, but I just want to give a shout out to Herb Flytown Lane. He's always been a big supporter to whatever we're doing. I mean, I'm sure he's a big supporter of whatever Lefty is doing, and he's always shows support. So I just want to give a shout out to Flytown and say what's up. My Arkansas neighbor, he's from Brinkley, Arkansas. I just want to say what's up.
Oh, I didn't know that. He's from Brinkley.
Shout out to Flight Time.
Lefty, you said you're in California right now. Is that where at in California? No,
I'm in LA.
Oh, LA. I don't know why you're shaking your head. No, Michael. Like I'm not supposed to ask that.
He just rubbing it in. He just rubbing it in.
Yeah,
I love LA.
I thought it was a secret or something. Michael shaking his head. No.
No, I really love California. I love LA. Not minus the traffic, but I live in DC, so hey, traffic is the same, but you can't beat that weather. When you wake up in the morning and it's about 78 degrees out, and a nice little breeze, and you can go for a nice walk. I just have fond memories of California. I just love it.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, so what's going on, man? What are you doing now? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, right now, I call it my act 2, really. I moved to LA to help grow the Harlem Dreams. The Harlem Dreams is a show entertainment basketball team. Obviously, I started because I found a need, saw something was missing when I was in the show world, and I just wanted to fill that void. And so that's what I moved here for. My kids wanted to act, and I'm like, we didn't come here to act. We're not doing that. Absolutely not. And so I said no for 3 years. And so, around my house, what we do is there's mandates, hey, if you do this and this and this and that and that. And I just gave them a couple of mandates. Like, my daughter wanted to do it first. Her brothers followed her. And so I said, if you get into this performing arts school, we can talk about it. And me knowing how she is with certain things, I'm like, yeah, she's not going to, do her own way to get into it. But she did. And when she came back to me, I didn't really want to talk about it. My wife was like, you're always talking about accountability. We need to boo, 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 boo. So I said, okay, yeah, happy wife, happy life, But if she was sitting here, she'll say, when the hubby's glad, life ain't so bad. So that's the,
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
I have a quick question though. Let's go back. So really quickly, because I want to understand. You said that you saw a need that was missing, which is why you create. What was that need that you saw that was missing?
So one of the things that made me want to become a Globetrotter was not just the ooh-ah. It was like the whole, the history of it, like the community based of how it started, going into the smaller communities and then growing. Like it all didn't start in the NBA arena. You know what I mean? It started in those smaller areas. And so I just started attacking it from a civil service. My mind is going freeze. Civic service groups like Kiwanis Club, Rotary Club, Lions Club, Habitat for Humanity. I started Chamber of Commerce. I just started attacking it from that standpoint and trying to just kind of like really leave something in the community and then build off of it to come back to continue to do it while still making a deposit in the community. And I felt like, first of all, when you put on the red, white, and blue uniform, you're an ambassador of goodwill. You're gonna bring
Sure.
joy and do that anyway. And so I knew that I could add that, but it was a piece that I felt like it was missing. And one of the most simplest ways that I could remember it was missing, and it's a part of it's a part of when you're growing, you things change, right? So
Sure.
Globetrotters is a huge brand. So during autograph session, 30 minutes go on the clock, you spread out, the yellow rope go out, you
Right.
sign autographs, people come to you. But once the horn goes off, you better not
Right.
sign no other autograph. Come on, we got to get going on to the
Right.
next. And so for me, I just felt like, I never wanted to leave until everyone who wanted at least one would get one. Now, obviously, our brand is still growing and it's not as big as the world
Sure.
famous Globetrotters. So it's like, maybe when we get at that point, I'll realize then, oh, well, this is why they didn't.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean? But I just wanted to have that type of impact. And so that's why I did that. Yeah.
That's excellent. So
Yeah.
I think that a lot of times people, especially how long have the Globetrotters been in existence? I can't remember.
Almost 100 years since 1920,
Exactly.
1926.
And
That's
so
right.
not only
1926. They're coming up
Yeah.
on they're coming up on
uh,
100. I thought I was like, yeah, I'll be looking over
right.
the hill when they hit that 100 mark. Because I remember I was playing 75th anniversary year. I
Right.
was, I remember distinctly playing in Hinckley, Illinois for the 75th anniversary.
Right.
Let's backtrack. I know you're talking about why you're there and things like that, man. Let's talk about a little bit about you, man, how you grew up, man, and
Like, where did you grow
where you
up?
from,
Yeah, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Jersey City, New Jersey. That
Okay.
was my whole stomping ground, East Coast. My wife as well.
You have
And
no accent whatsoever from New Jersey.
no,
No.
I guess because I'm so culturally sensitive, I'm well traveled. I guess
Well,
I don't
exactly,
know.
because you don't sound like you're from Jersey at all.
Yeah, I don't sound like I'm from Jersey.
That's right. No.
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, no, that's where I grew up from. But I want to answer the other question because I want people to hear the importance of following up with what you do with your children. So my daughter ends up getting into the school. My wife holds me accountable to what I said, and so I said, well, if you guys want to do this, you're gonna prove it to me, right?
Right.
And so I taught them how to act because if you can be a showman, you can act. Globetrotters is nothing but Broadway.
That's
You're
right.
on, it's
Mm.
it's a play.
Right.
There is no cut, there's no you play through it. And so I started to do that. I would have them slate. A slate is like an introduction. You come in, say your name, your height, where you're from, blah blah blah. Because when you're in those audition rooms, um, I can't go with you. You
Right.
just come out and I say, hey, how was it? So man, I would boo them, and this was hilarious because my youngest son, who's now 9, he was like 1 at the time, and he'd be boo, boo, and he'd be laughing with me. And so my daughter and my oldest son, EJ, man, they would be crying. I say, hey man, is that what you're gonna do when you get disappointed? Is that what you're gonna do when you don't get a role? Hey man, go back out, come on back. Right. And I was trying everything I could to break them, to make them not do this. I was trying my hardest to get them not to want to do this. But they passed the test. So I said, okay, now okay, we're gonna go get me an agent now. No, we're not done yet. Now I need to teach you everything about, PR. What's
Right.
PR, daddy? And as a globetrotter, Mike can tell you, man, when you're in training camp, they drill you on everything. You're gonna come out like a machine. You're gonna come
Yeah.
out. So when people hear my son talking and they're like, man, he's so sharp, that's because of my background and what I've been through. I've been able to pass it
Right.
on, to my children. And so once I felt like they were ready, I said, now we ready. Now we about to hit this circuit. I took them to everybody you can think of, had them in front of Eddie Murphy, Jim Carrey, everybody you can think of.
Right.
I've used my platform of what I've been so blessed to be, one of the elite. You can't even name 1,000 Globetrotters. And if
Sure.
I'm wrong, Mike, correct me, but I don't even think we can name 1,000, huh?
I
No.
don't think so. I
No.
don't think
You
so.
know,
They only
so,
yeah. In
so
1926, I think it should be. I think it should be. Personally, I think the number should even be less. I think it should be very difficult to become a Harlem
Yeah.
Globetrotter. I think you should.
I agree.
You got a lot of good basketball players out there, but it takes a special person to be a Globetrotter. And I know a Globetrotter when I see a Globetrotter. You know what I
hmm
mean?
So you
So
really
No, that's
use
true.
your networking prospects from your platform to help
That's
them.
what I did.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I took everything that I've ever learned from someone. Usually, what I do every year, I go to my phone, I look through my Rolodex, and I
Hmm.
see. I feel like your phone should be of service to you. And I don't mean by via social media,
Right.
scrolling through timeline.
Right.
I mean, you should
Yeah.
have, you know, like, you know, a strong network in your phone. And I just was going through who could help me, who could help me, who could help me. And I'm usually, and I'm not exaggerating, I'm not being arrogant, I'm just being extremely honest with you. I'm usually one or two people removed away from anybody I want to get to.
Well,
And
sure.
I don't take that for granted. I'm very, very, very blessed to be able to do that. And the more that we able to do, especially, you know, with my son having his own show and this, that, he's got multiple shows. It's like your network is just gonna grow. And so I'm
Exactly.
just really appreciative about it.
Because, you know, I think that's a good thing to bring out, not just for that, but I see a lot of young athletes now, high school, especially college too, that they're hesitant to get into those opportunities where they're meeting those boosters and sponsors because it's uncomfortable to them. And I don't think
Mhm.
they totally understand the value. And Michael and I have talked about that, the value of getting into that networking space of mind and really building their network of contacts that they're going to use later on in life or even
No,
now.
that's true. No, no, I know, I agree. And this is why man, listen, when my daughter first told me she wanted to sing, I said, okay, we got to start singing. We got to start
Right.
practicing. Once she got finished practicing, she wanted to get in the studio. No, now I would make her introduce herself to people in the streets, just walking around. Go introduce yourself. Go tell them you sing. Go tell, and man, she hated it, you
I'm
know.
sure she
Now she appreciates it. But you know what I was doing? And I think all parents should do this. I was setting them up and putting them on the spot. You gotta be used to
right.
being spontaneous and get used to embarrassing yourself and not being so scared to just speak. So now, they present themselves, they're just outgoing and just, but they're like much so more like their mom that had to be developed. Whereas with me, it was just like I just was the one always, you know, the life of the
Natural.
room. And
It was
yeah,
natural. It was natural
yeah,
for
it's
you.
Yeah.
natural for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
I mean, I see you, man. I see how you light up, and the reason I really wanted to do to have you on the show, man, because you took advantage. We had another guy on the show a few weeks ago that he seemed to take advantage and knew in the moment what it meant to, like, okay, I got this advantage. I want to I want to, make the most of it. And most athletes, a lot of athletes tend to, after it's over with, and they look back like, man, I should have did this, I should have did this, I should have did this. But the reason I really wanted you on here because of this, because it's your unique situation, because you said your second actor, but we call it the fifth quarter because it's 4 quarters in
Hmm.
basketball. You took
Hmm.
advantage of it. You was like, okay, I know I can't play basketball forever, so I'm really diving into, what I see. I don't know what you're going. I know you're with your kids full time. I think that's what you do right now, full time is with your kids. But I know how hard you go. People think it's easy, but just kind of break down a typical day, man, of how, when you're with your kids, because I want people out there to know. They think it's like, oh, he just like, he just with his kids.
Living the
But
dream.
please, yeah, please tell them how difficult it is, man.
Well, it's very difficult. Like, so for instance, like the kids are still kids, and we always promised ourselves, my wife and I, that we'd never push things on our kids.
Right.
So like they wanted to do this business. I'm like, well, if you want to do this business have to always come first. And one person can't like go ahead of everybody else. Rising tide truly has to lift all boats. And so we all have to like pull together and do it. So they during the strike, the SAG is going through a strike.
Right.
So my son is still fortunate enough to work his two animation shows because the animation is not a part of the SAG after
Oh,
agreement, so he still
okay.
can work that, right? So, so now you push him for commercial and other stuff. So a commercial audition comes to us. Hey, it's a national spot, and he's looking like, "Oh, dad." And I said all of that because I wanted them to still be a kid, so I let them go back to school because my kids were homeschooled because they were always on set.
Right.
Very challenging schedule, from 6 a.m. to 9 in the evening, whatever. They're on set. They're
Right.
working actors. They're not struggling actors. They're working. And so to take advantage of this, and just go say, "Hey, we got this audition that's due by 2." And he gives me that look, and I'm like, "Hey, man, you said you wanted to do this." I always have to remind them.
Right.
Now, here's what we can do.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do this, I want you to say it and give me a reason why you don't want to do it. Don't just blow it off.
Right.
If you looked at the specs of it and you're like, I don't like this, I don't like that,
Yeah.
I can't relate to that character, I'm cool with that. Now I got my manager hat on and I'm with you. Okay, I'm not being dad. I'm the manager. He doesn't want to do it. Let me pass on this. But I'm bringing that up because 6 o'clock this morning, LA time, he was standing in front of a ring light doing an audition, doing a self tape, which
Wow.
I then had to edit. I now have to make sure he looked right. Send it on. Now I'm talking to casting directors. Is he a fit? Is it this? Then when I'm done
Right.
with that, I have other kids to push. My younger son, there's a Verizon commercial he's in with Sean Hayes and what's Bateman. His last name is Bateman, the guy from
Jason
uh, Jason Bateman. Thank you. He was on Hancock.
Ozark. Yeah.
With
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
and
So
Ozark. Yeah. Hey man,
yeah, so
brag on him a little bit, man. Let's
oh
tell him stop playing, man. Just be a proud dad. Let
Yeah.
everybody know you talking around it. You talking
Yeah.
around
oh
it.
okay.
Yeah. Go through each of your kids and give a couple
So
of
so my
highlights.
so my daughter Kiara Kiki Williams, she has
How old is
voiced.
she? How old is she?
She just turned 17,
Okay.
going on 30. Yeah, so she voiced a Moon Girl character for Disney. She's written a song and has her own brand called Don't I Have a Say. So you can go to don'tIhaveasay.com and see her brand. She's a superb writer. At 14 years old, she was in her first pitch meeting with Netflix, pitching a show, doing those things. My son, Elisha EJ Williams, was the star of the reboot of the Wonder Years,
Right.
the lead character called Dean.
How old is he?
Um, he is 14, going on 30.
Okay.
He's been nominated for 4 NAACP Image Awards. He's a
Wow.
Peabody Award winner. He's a Critic Choice Award winner. He's a Hopper Award winner for Best Actor in a Comedy, Lead Actor in a Comedy Series for Network Television. He just was nominated for another Hopper Award for Best Actor in the same category. And my youngest son, Caleb C.J. Williams, is nominated for supporting actor in a network television series. EJ is also the lead of animation show Puppy Dog Pal. He plays Bingo. He's also one of the leads for a Disney Junior show called Firebuds. And we just closed the deal for him for a show for Netflix, which I can't speak of just yet because they have
Okay.
not announced it yet. But he's doing that. And then he also has been featured on tons of Nickelodeon shows, Henry Danger, Danger Force, tons of commercials. My youngest son CJ has been, I guess you could say, Ellen says she's discovered him from when he was 2. It was on her show, Little Big Shots with Steve Harvey. He was hosting it, and then at 2, and then from there he's done tons of commercials. He's played the younger version of his older brother on Wonder Years, his younger Dean,
Oh my
as well
God.
as tons of commercials. He's got a Verizon commercial out right now, like I said, with Sean Hayes and Jason Baden, a Verizon commercial promoting the new iPhone. And so we're just really grinding. I'm proud of my kids. They're all young. CJ's 9, he's the youngest. They all have their own way of doing it. I have a whole bunch of alphas that live under one roof, so it's like you can imagine what that's like, right?
Sure.
So
Sure.
yeah,
How did
but I'm proud.
That makes me tired just listening to
yeah.
you. That
Good job, Dad. Hey, how did you think being with the Globetrotters and doing this, how did that even help? Did that help you prepare you with what you got going on today?
I thought I worked hard before, man. I thought I was a great high school basketball player, college, pro, but it's something about. I remember I told a story a few weeks ago. I remember when Tex flew me to Houston to try out and become a Globetrotter. I remember guys being so tired, not having much to say. This particular morning was so early, and when we walked in the gym, I hear the music, Sweet Georgia Brown. And I saw this energy like never before, man. It was almost like the anthem for the Avengers to assemble. You
Yeah.
know what I
wow.
mean? And it's like once I got on the road and I saw the work ethic, 10 months out the year away from your family,
Right.
every night going. And
Yeah.
it created something in me that let me know that if I can do that, I can do anything. And
Sure.
so I got a
Yeah.
lot of respect to anybody who's put on the uniform, whether it's a day, a year, 20 years, 18 years, 15 years. Because to be a globetrotter, man, I'm telling you, when you're traveling up and down, crisscrossing country to country, I've only been to 35 countries,
Oh
you
my.
know, um, Yeah, only. But I say that because flight time I think been to 95.
Yeah, he got to
Mike
be about
Mike
a low bit.
Mike Mike probably been to maybe at least 80. I would want to say.
Right.
I don't know how many you've been
81,
to.
man. You were pretty
Yeah,
close. I
see,
was
I'm close. You
81.
see, you see what I mean? So like that's why
Yeah.
I say only
Right.
because my other Globetrotter brothers, like they make me want to get in the room and just be a fly on the wall and don't speak and just listen. Because while I appreciate my time and know that I've had fun and know the work ethic, man, these guys have been everywhere. I would love to have been the guy to spin the ball on the Pope's finger. I can't say that, but Herb can, Flight Time can. I would love to
Oh
be a part
my
of this.
God.
Yeah, I love to be
Yeah.
the guy that's been a part of the team that was with Nelson Mandela. They can. I can't say that. I would.
You can,
what I mean?
can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike
Yeah,
can.
Mike can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah, you
can,
see.
but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
we
know?
did some wonderful things, man. I want to talk about this. I really want to get into this fifth quarter. I know were you always wanted to be a professional basketball player, or was there something else you wanted to do growing up?
Basketball saved my life. I was mentally and physically abused by the hands of my father. My father was an alcoholic and a heroin addict. So at 9, I grabbed the milk crate, flipped it over, had a hammer, hammered it out. That was my basketball hoop. I couldn't afford anything. My shoes, I had holes in my shoes. I didn't want to come outside with sneakers because they're going to clown me. I got some fresh dress shoes, church shoes. I'm going to throw those on, not thinking, idiot, that you just put the spotlight even bigger on you.
Right. So I want to
So-
ask. I want to ask a quick question though. Like, what made you gravitate towards basketball specifically? Like, what made you
Well,
say, "I want to go get that
Cheap.
milk
It was
carton"?
cheap,
and-
and it was ready.
basketball was the cheapest sport, and it was either that or sell drugs or stick up some old lady, and I didn't want to do any of it. One of the things I've always prided myself on, always said I never wanted my mom to pick up a newspaper. Well, back then, newspaper wasn't social media then,
Right.
but never wanted my mom to pick up a newspaper and read something negative about her son. And so that was one of the things that kept me grounded. And then she kept me in church 8 days out the week. So that'll keep
I hear you.
that'll keep you grounded too. But basketball has always been my first love. I took up some love for writing, and at 12, I worked at a place called Horizon Health Center in Jersey City as a peer educator for a group called COPE. COPE stood for Community Outreach Through Peer Education, and we would write monologues and do skits, and that's where my if I go back and think about it, that's where acting started for me.
Sure
That's
did.
where I could become a character at
And
12.
I think honestly though, looking at it, I think it possibly started before that because I grew up with an alcoholic father, and I used to read to escape the household and to escape that what was going on. I wasn't abused physically or anything, but I think that you look for those outlets, and in a lot of ways, you are having to perform for the outside world
Absolutely.
and
Three
escape from that.
300%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They always say that. They always say the person that has the most jokes is the one that's really hurting on the inside more so than anything, and that's always the case. That's always the case. So when
'Cause you're
you
searching.
started liking basketball, when did you find out? When did you love it, and when did you find out like, hey, I'm pretty good at this?
Yeah.
I didn't figure out I got pretty good until the summer of my 10th grade year. I went to Pocono Invitational of a hoop group. And Mr. Rob, his family, Kennedy and them, they owned that place up there, and they let me stay. Stephon Marbury weekend was that week.
Okay.
And so Steph took a liking to me, and I said, man, I think I'm getting a little good at this. So when I got back going in, I was averaging 10 points, 13 rebounds. That wasn't much for me. That's 10th
Yeah.
grade on varsity. Junior year, 18 points, 10 rebounds.
Dang.
Senior year, 30 points, 10
Oh my
rebounds, 5
God.
assists, 3 blocks, 1,000-point scorer. I was 15 rebounds away from having 1,000 points,
As a high
1,000
school
point club,
player.
1,000 rebounds as a high school player. Yeah.
What do you associate that increase in your talent, in your consistency? Like what were the things you were putting into place from the 10th grade year to your senior year that really helped you excel as a basketball player?
I made the basketball my girlfriend.
Okay.
And I made a commitment that I wasn't going to cheat on her. I wasn't going to roll in the closet and be hanging
Right.
outside when I could be working on my game. And there's this place on Communipore Avenue called Lincoln Park. I wanted to be able to play on Communipore Avenue. That's where all of the better players played. And I
Right.
was willing to get my butt kicked every weekend while I was playing it until I was able to dominate. I wanted to be the one that guys passed the ball to, not just picked me up because I could rebound and I was tough and I had a strong inside presence. And then my senior year, I had to play point forward duties. Now everyone knows what that is, but when I was coming along, that wasn't normal. You know what I mean? And so to be able to do that, I was supposed to go to Providence. My SAT scores were really bad, and then I ended up going to a Division III school. The reason why I chose Montclair State University at first is because Ted Fiore had left the MAC conference. He was a head coach at St. Peter's College. He took a Division III job, and my cousin Raphael Addison, who played for Syracuse and played in the NBA, he's like, man, you need to go play for Coach Fiore. You're gonna be all right if you go there. So and I go there, and I literally he taught me the game of defense differently. I started to focus and really get locked in. Then I knew at that point I knew offensively I was straight, but from a defensive point, I'm like, I'm understanding what it is that I need to do, and I started guarding the better players. I had some great wars with Horace Jenkins, who's a great player in our conference. He's an NBA champion, played with the Detroit Pistons. They dethroned the Lakers with Chauncey Billups
Yeah.
Right.
and Rasheed Wallace and all of them. So then I realized, like, wait a second, I think I'm gonna be all right. And so I just I just had timelines set for myself.
What was
That's
your
awesome.
what was your thought process when you were in college? Like, were you thinking I want to play pro afterwards, or what was like? Were you even thinking about after college?
I was so disappointed and so frustrated with the fact that here I am with all of these D1 offers and couldn't do it. Like, so now if you look at it now, they've removed a lot of these schools. You don't even need to take the SAT now. Where was
Yeah.
that when I was coming along?
So
You know what I mean? Like
that was the reason the
that
SAT
was
score.
that was
So
the only reason I didn't play
could
Division
you
One
have
basketball.
gone back and retaken the SAT?
I took it 3 times. I now know I was dealing with so much trauma at home.
Sure.
My mind wasn't
Right.
focused on
Sure.
that. I couldn't sit there and stay focused on that for 3 hours, 2 hours. Like I had so much going on.
Sure.
You know, then during that time, my mom was sick with ovarian cancer, cervical cancer. They've given her 2 months to live. So much stuff was going on.
Right.
Gracefully, she beat it and is still here. But during that time, like so much was going on, I just was disappointed. And I was there and I said, you know what? I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going to JUCO. I'm not transferring. I'm gonna make my way. I'm gonna make this happen. This is what I'm gonna do.
Right.
And I
Wow.
just had like timelines set for myself. You know, it's like, something go wrong, coach call timeout, they draw up the play, and then you got to go back out there and execute. So for me, I needed to execute. And so that's what I focused on.
So what were you thinking after college?
Right after college, it was time to get going. So I was done with college in May. I signed my first deal in August. I was off to the races. After that, I went to Luxembourg, Germany. After that, I was in Nottingham, England. After that, I was in Okinawa, Japan. Then Misawa, Japan. After that, I was with Harlem Ambassadors. After that, I was in NBA Summer League. After that, there was a guy named Henry Clark who was the coach of the Globetrotters at the time who saw me in the Summer League. It was
Right.
me, Kyle Lowry, few other this was '06, summer of '06.
Right.
And after that, I'm like, all right, I'll hold on to his card. When nothing went the way I wanted it to go, I said, let me try to call. I called the GM. I think it was Nick. I think Nick Cardinale was the GM at the time. Anyway,
Yeah.
they had fired Henry, and I was like, dang it. And he's like, yeah, but he did tell us about you. You might want to call. Let's get you to call Tex. Take down this number. Thank God he gave me the number.
Sure.
you know. And then Tex went in
Yeah.
the hospital, and they were like, man, you might want to just stay with the generals until things get, if Tex really mess with you like that, he'll bring you out to training camp. And so I just took the word for it, and I did. Thankfully, I went on tour with a guy we call Cap, Clyde Sinclair, and Cap would bring me down on the other side and see what I got. Let me see what you got. All right, let me see what you got. All right, we're gonna mic him up. Let me see what you got. He's like, man, because if Tex really rocking with you, he sees something, man. Hey, man, you better don't let him take your money now.
Yeah, that's Clyde. That's Clyde. I had a chance to play with Cap
Yeah,
throughout my career. He was a teammate of mine, and he became a coach. He was a teammate of mine at first, then he became my coach. So yeah, Clyde's good people, man. So
yeah,
he's one of
he
my
looked out
top.
for me.
Yeah, he's
He
one of my
looked.
tops in my circle. I got a magic circle that I'll put up against anybody's magic circle. It's me, Clyde, Curly Boo, Billy Ray Hobley, God
I was
rest
about
his
to say, I know
soul.
Super Trotter in there.
Billy Ray Hobley, and who else did I have? I think I had Sweet Lou as a showman or Showbiz as a showman, but I'll put those guys. I'll put that circle up against anybody's circle. We
That's
always talk
crazy.
about that. Yeah, it was a really good circle. So I remember those times, man. Clyde was really instrumental in my career. Tex was really instrumental in pretty much everybody's career that played. You came in when I was leaving.
I wish, dude, that's the one thing. If it's one Globetrotter that I wish I could have, if it's one Globetrotter I wish I could have played with, one, I wish I could have played with you. I think that if I would have played with you, I would have stayed out on the road longer. But I was
Oh,
spoiled because I became Herb's like rookie.
Yeah,
Like Herb would, as long as he had it, he was always the first out in the hallway to work with the ball. And he would
I
always say,
got.
"Hey man,
It's always passed down, man. I
yeah,
mean, I remember his first year at camp, man. I was like, I told you, when you playing for so long, you know people who have it. When I first met her, and after training camp, 2 days with a little sore, sitting in the hot tub, just relaxing. Me, him, and Barry Hardy were in the hot tub, and I was like, "Hey, man, you got what it takes." He didn't believe me, and I told him, I said, "You have it," and he didn't know it. But come to find, he had a great career. He actually played longer than I did. I think he played 18, 19 years or something.
he played 18 years." Yep.
wow.
Yeah, so yeah, it's rare that Globetrotters get double digits. So he almost did 2 decades, but he's a hard worker, man. Doesn't ruffle any feathers. We're a pretty good guy, man. So if he had you up on his wing, I knew you were a good guy anyway. So I wanted to go back to this. You run your own team, man, the Harlem Dreams.
Mhm.
I remember the story. I have a memory like an elephant. Everybody tells me I remember everything. Tell me what happened with the dream and how that taken off. I want people to tell. I want you to tell people that story.
So I was in a place called Port Alberni, Canada. It's in British Columbia. It's on Vancouver Island. And
Yeah.
I'm sitting there doing a celebrity game. I'm raising funds for that city, for that community. I think we might have raised maybe 100,000
Were you
for
still a
that campaign.
Globetrotter at the time?
No, no, no,
Okay.
no, no, no.
Okay.
I was in ministry. And so I get all my resources, bring all my friends to town to do this show. And then my former manager at the time comes out to the show. So I grabbed people from Day 26. They were on Bad Boy Records, different NFL players, all type of people, and Major League Baseball player, all type of people. And so he said, "Man, who put all this together?" I said, "I did." He said, and wait, all of this, and it was sold out. They had to turn people away because the venue it wasn't that
Wow.
big,
Yeah.
maybe 2,000 people could sit in there. They had to turn people away. So I had been asking him to help me to do this for a while, and he didn't want to help me. But he came to see this. He said, "Man, we're gonna do this." Man, I'm like, "Man, whatever." So he's trying to talk to me and trying to get my attention. I'm like, "Whatever." He's telling my wife, "Tell him we need to talk." And so she was like, "Just talk to him." So he called me. The call was supposed to last 5 minutes. It lasted over 3 hours.
Oh my
And
God.
next thing you know, he's like, "Yeah, I want to do this with you, but I need you to move to LA." I'm like, now I gotta convince my wife, then, and we had bought a house in Canada, and now you gotta put the house up for sale,
Oh
and it just
yeah.
worked out. And then we moved. But I've always wanted to, I just wanted to be able to do it. And I always felt like I could do it. There were some barriers in the way of me being able to really do it, and I didn't understand it in the thick of it. I'm glad I was able to understand it afterwards. Hey man, it wasn't you, it was this, it was that, it was that. I didn't understand the nature of the recipe of, hey man, this is this and that is that, in terms of stay in the Globetrotter and how it goes, and just so much other stuff that I now understand. And I just wanted to just do it my way, and I was able to do it my way, and I'm able to do it my way to this day. And I understand, like, man, that circle's got to be right, that's got to be right, that, all of those things. But I'm grateful that Ray gave me opportunity to invest in me, and his time, his finances, his resources, to help me pull off something that I wanted to do. And I knew I was doing something great because I'm standing in the kitchen and I get a call. And I'm like, "Hello?" And they're like, "Lefty?" I'm like, "Yeah, who's this?" And he says, "I promise God, man, I swear to God, no lie." He says, "This is Metal Lock Lemon." What?
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, he says, "I see you." I put the phone on mute. I said, "Babe, it's Metal Lock. It's Metal Lock." She went, "Huh?" That's how I knew. I'm like, okay, I'm on to something. And I'm just super appreciative to this day.
A
That's
quick
an awesome
question though.
story, man.
I want to know how, because Michael obviously knows this, but for everybody out there, like what was that decision to stop being with the Globetrotters? How did that whole
It
process
wasn't
work?
mine.
Right.
It wasn't mine. I went through some really difficult times, and I got the call, and they told me that they weren't bringing me back, and then they realized that ESPN had still wanted to run with the story that they wanted to do, and they offered me something different to come back at 50% of the salary. I was one of
Wow.
those trotters who came in as a rookie making really good money. I
Sure.
came in as a showman, so when I came in, they had let go a showman who I guess he had just signed his new deal.
Right.
And in training camp, they let him go because I don't think they thought that I was going to be able to do what I was able to do. So when they brought him in and re-signed his deal, the moment I signed my deal, they let him go. So swoops.
Wow.
They let him go. And so it just it was it was tough. But
I
I
know,
got the call.
I
With
know a lot. I won't say it now, but you
hmm
shared with me on our Zoom calls when you've been on our Zoom calls. Not only were you going through that, you were going through a lot of things personally as well.
Yeah,
I'm
personally,
not
yep.
going to get
hmm
into it. I don't want to talk about it. But I know you were going through a lot of stuff, man. And our podcast is about the fifth quarter, and getting to that moment and knowing like, okay, damn, it's over with. What was your like, wow, my this is over and what I'm gonna do next? Or did you know what you're gonna do next? When
Well,
you got that call. And plus I'm not getting into it, like I said, the personal stuff you're going through. How did all that tie into like, did you panic or did you like, look, I gotta buckle up? I got something I need to
Right.
find something to do.
I came home and I was depressed because of what I was dealing with personally.
Right.
What I was dealing with personally was heavier than getting the call.
Yeah.
It could have potentially pushed me over the edge if I let it.
Right.
And so what I did do was I said, okay, I had to revert back to me being a kid. So as a kid, I
Yes.
had to dare to dream while living a nightmare, right?
Right. Right.
So trying to dream and think the things are possible while things are, you know, you're looking around and it doesn't look like it's possible. So because I always had to dare to dream while living a nightmare, I had to revert back to that young
Right.
9-year-old kid and I had to dream again. So the next thing was, okay, I didn't have it, as long as these guys, but you know what? I met this person on the road. You know what? I met that person on the road.
Right.
You know what I'm getting ready to do? I'm about to start a Dare to Dream tour. you know, I called Christopher Hightower over at Under Armour, and they basketball division wasn't big yet. At the time, they had Kimball Walker and they had Cam Newton. That's
That
it.
was it. Oh my God.
That's it. Steph wasn't there yet. And so I forged a relationship with him. He sponsored a 40 city Dare to Dream tour. And it was a campaign for me. And I was doing
Mhm.
school tours, I was speaking into people's lives, doing all those things. And my wife said, "This is not a campaign. This is a foundation." I don't want to do that. I just want to give it. No, 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 no. Because we were putting so much resources out. And so we made it a foundation. And then we created the foundation, the Harold Lefty Williams Dare to Dream Foundation, sports and educational character curriculum. It's based on a 6-point thrust system: mind, body, citizenship, education, accountability, and enthusiasm. And we through those things, we foster relationships. We've helped so many kids be able to go to college for free. We help kids be
Right.
able to go to basketball camps for free, get recruited, go to whether it's to Harvard Westlake in LA, whether it's to Oakwood Academy, whether it's the Viewpoint, which is in Calabasas.
Hmm.
We are able, and all of those schools I named cost a minimum of 43,000 a
Right.
year to go to.
Right. Right.
So we've helped kids be able to get in on scholarships, to be able to do just different things through our foundation. And I'm appreciative about that because I'm able to leverage what I've been able to do. And a lot of times, people who are listening out there, you might see a door that's closed. Sometimes the enemy closes a door, and we're so focused on that door, so focused on the door that we
Yes.
forget that
Yes.
God removed the hinges from it. And if you just push that door that seemed closed, what happens is it falls and it creates a bridge.
Hmm.
And you just got to step out and walk boldly across that bridge into your fifth quarter to do what it is that's what's next for you. And that's all I did. But I surrounded myself around good people, people who really like believe in what I'm doing, people who know that I'm not perfect, but know that my mission is. Like they know the core, the heart of who I am and the core values of what I stand for. And so they know the foundation is there. And I don't care about being right. It's overrated. I don't care about that. I care about it being right. And there's a difference. And
Right.
so people who are connected to me know that, and they know that because I care about it being right, they care about pouring into me and helping me. And man, what do you want to do? I don't take none of my relationships for granted, whether it be, with Matthew Knowles,
Right.
great relationship I have with him, whether it be, with Allen Houston, whether it be, any way direction it is, I don't take none of my relationships for granted. And I welcome this fifth quarter, my act two, because this is, if this is what it is, and I know I'm just getting started, I'll be 42 at the end of the month. I'm just getting
Okay.
started.
A,
Yeah.
a really quick question. So I just make sure that I understand because I'm curious about it. When you said they did that 40 city tour,
Hmm.
what were you actually doing? Like, were you
I was.
speaking in different
Mhm.
cities? Like what? Okay. And what were you
So
speaking on?
my relationship with Under Armour was only swag gear. So they said, I'm
Okay.
gonna give you all the swag gear you need. That sneakers, be it
Right.
t-shirts, be it keychains, be it book bags. They provided swag gear for me to give out in that community.
Okay.
And so now, so when I'm going to trying to do stuff with schools, they were letting me come, and I was also giving back to the school as well. So they were giving in until what we were doing to fund the next stop
Right.
while
Right.
I was leaving, giving hope, giving entertainment, and giving,
Got it.
merchandise. You know what I mean? Which was pretty cool. And then I partnered with Chick-fil-A, you know, and then it just worked. And then it went from them to Fila Canada, and then then I
Yeah.
partnered with, with the Royal Canadian Police, and then I started speaking at their DARE graduations, doing their DARE, and then it just kept
Right.
growing
Yeah.
and growing and growing. Then we just started the foundation.
Because I think that's an interesting prospect. Because I think a lot of people, not just athletes, but people in general, I think they forget the skill sets that they have and
Mhm,
don't necessarily think about what can they do since they can't do what they've been doing, and they don't really think
mhm.
outside the box. So thank you for explaining all that. Michael, did
Yeah,
you want
So
I think that's a great job.
to?
I think that's a great idea. The other day, me and some friends of mine, we were talking about empowering. And I'm in management now, and I'm really focused on empowering my team and the people that I manage. You getting these deals, getting the Under Armour deal, the Chick-fil-A deal. How empowering was that to you? How did that make you feel like, wow, I can do this? I can, I got this, Was that a moment of empowerment for you? Was there a moment of clarity for you to say, man, I can do this? Little old me, Harold from Jersey, and making this happen. How did that make you feel?
no, that wasn't a moment for me. I think it was an expectation. I felt like I had
That's what's up.
accomplished enough to where it could happen. The moment for me that you're speaking of came when I got my family's first endorsement deal. So we did a
Oh.
deal with a company called RYU, which is an athletic apparel. And then they
Mm-hmm.
gave us our own Williams line. So I did a 5-year deal with them. And so then I'm like, okay, all right, cool. Then they gave me stock as well as cash. So I was like, okay, that was the moment I was like, man, little old me, wait, I got that deal done? Okay, yeah. Well, if I was able to do that, okay, now it's really on. Okay, now I'm really, and so I'm also, producing projects in Hollywood. I'm trying to get another deal done right now with Herb and some other solo projects that I have. I got a game show with my son that we're pitching right now, which I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited about. Um, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. It don't always feel good. It's sometimes scary, if I'm being honest.
That's okay. No,
Just because,
we want you to be honest.
yeah, it's sometimes scary, but I'm in the right place. I wrote a book 6 years ago, and because I was trying to push my wife, her cookbook, my daughter's brand, I put it on the back shelf. I felt like, well, maybe that was supposed to just been an encouragement to me, right?
Sure.
And then 6 years later, now we're out shopping my book now. I have a deal with my agent. It's called The Art of Rebounding. That's
Oh,
what
I
it's called, The
love
Art of
that.
Rebounding.
I
Yeah.
love that. I
And
love that.
but it's about my life, bouncing back the things that I've been through,
Sure.
grabbing that rebound, as well as me explaining how great of a rebounder I was, it's basketball.
Right.
So it's like two of those things, but it's really my journey, right? And I'm saying that to say this, like I was so scared of this moment, but it's timing. It's the timing of everything, right? And I've never been afraid to step out. Sometimes I'm afraid to step up, and it's a difference. It's like
Why
people get up on that.
I'm sorry, why are you scared to step up? Is that just what does that come from?
I'm a confident young man. I'm very confident. Sometimes too overconfident, but I'm because I'm building something of consequence. I'm
Mhm.
not a single man. I'm not a kid who don't have children. I have 3 children, a wife of 18 years. So that I've built things of consequence. So as I'm cutting, imagine this big old field, and I'm telling everybody, this is the way, follow me, this is the way. And I got this big old knife, and I'm cutting the weeds and making the pathway. As I'm cutting, I'm telling them this is it, and I'm confident in what I'm doing. I'm prepared, and I'm not just saying this is the way. But as I'm cutting, I'm still saying, "Oh God, please let this be the right thing. Please, I don't want to turn this. Please don't let this be a dead end." Because I don't never want to come to a point where I look back and they look at me and they're like, "Well, you
But
said."
but
You know
but
what I
I
mean?
want to say this to you. You know, I'm a little bit older than you, just a little bit. Uh,
We
I
both
just
are.
want to say nobody ever got anything by like to where you are and doing the things you are by playing it safe. You have to jump off that cliff, so to speak.
You do,
And
but
you
Hmm.
know, and living like that, you have to do that in order to make a difference. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you got.
sure.
You know
That
what I
part.
mean?
And I think it's good though that you're voicing that because I think so many kids out there believe that it's easy. They believe they
Hmm.
don't have to work or maybe they are really scared and I think that it's great that you did it but you're also able to say, I was scared. I was scared because I've built all this stuff with consequence. I would love to know what you would tell because obviously I live in Memphis and we have a lot of young black guys here, young black boys that don't have the ideal family life. Okay.
Hmm.
And what would you say to those boys, middle school, high school? What would you say to those guys right now that don't have that perfect family life and are struggling with school and prospects of possibly playing sports of some kind? What would you say to them?
I think first you have to surround yourself with the right group of people. I tell my kids every day that you only make anywhere between 2 to 5,000 of your closest friends, right? And so if my kids' friends are not talking about business, entrepreneurship, um, coding, AI, stocks, like college, what they want to major, like things like that. I don't let those type of people hang around my kids because I have to place them in a certain environment. So what I would say to any kid who's listening, it would be find those type of conversations to your friends. And if you don't have that, you need to become that conversation and latch on to a OG, a older
Right.
person who can give
Right.
that to you. My OG was my grandfather. My grandfather was the greatest male I've ever known in my life because he shared with me his success and he shared with me his failures. He shared with
Mhm.
me, here's what I did right, here's what I did wrong.
But
Right.
in
But
life,
he gave.
don't you want someone like that? But in life, you want somebody like that. I want a leader like that that's
Sure.
messed up. Doesn't got. I don't want a leader that doesn't know what how it is to fail. You know what I mean? I want
Mhm.
someone to lead me, or I'm following someone, not somebody that's been fed a silver spoon
Right.
their whole mouth and don't know what it means for like, oh man, I don't the price of gas. You know, I want somebody to be like, man,
Mhm.
I was broke. You know,
Sure.
but I came out of it. And
Right.
so they always say, I always go back to this Eddie Murphy movie. It's this movie. He was like, if every day was a sunny day, what would be a sunny day?
That's right.
You understand what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
So,
But
I
what
mean,
I mean, I don't mean like that they have to have not had been through any failures, right?
yeah,
What I'm saying is like a lot of times, like there's so many things that change our perspective. There's things that we listen to that
Mhm.
make us make negative choices. There's things that we watch that make us do
A
negative
lot
things.
of
There's
those, a
things
lot
that
of those.
there's things that we smell that make us eat negative things, right? So
yeah.
we have to make the right choices and not allow those negative things to happen. And one of the ways you find it is by searching for some of those things that I just mentioned, those to having those positive conversations. And if you can't find it, become that. Start to tell yourself words of affirmation, things like
Right.
that. Because I'm not afraid of failure or even being around somebody who I know has that potential, just need the right opportunity. That's not what I mean. Because one of my
Yeah.
quotes that I share with my family all the time is failure is the road to success. Just be sure you take the right exit.
That's
Right.
right.
So
That's right.
I'm not
Yeah.
worried about failure or falling or having those people around me. But if more negative conversations is happening, only one or two things can happen. Either I'm gonna affect you or you're gonna affect me. And so we have to decide at some point to make some type of a decision. And so for me, it starts with what do I want to do? What am I passionate about? What gets me waking up in the morning and trying to surround myself around with those things. Some of the kids today, everybody feel like they're going D1 and everybody feel like they're going to the NBA and
Yeah.
Exactly.
everybody feel
Oh
like
my
that
Yeah.
they're
God. And they can't
that
even
they're
play, they can't even play sports because
exactly
they don't want to put the work in and the discipline in and the conditioning in for
Yeah,
that.
believe me,
right.
I know it firsthand. I know it firsthand about putting the work in. Everybody wants to win on game day.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
But what are you doing
Yep.
those days before game day to win? Those days like, "Ah, I don't feel like going to practice. Oh, I'm not running as hard as I can.
Because
Oh, I'm
neither
not
one
doing
of
as hard
you
as I can."
got to where you were by just showing up on game day.
Oh
Like,
no,
Oh
God
no,
no.
no,
I'm we
Uh-uh.
definitely made sacrifices. We wanted to go
Yeah.
to those parties. We wanted to hang out with our friends, but I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? I got to do this work, or I won't be eligible to play. So I have to.
Yep.
I got to get this
Yep.
work in. That was my motivation. So I'm sure a lot of athletes have similar stories to that. I know you still speak to kids, and I know you still. Okay, what are you? What value are you saying that you bring to the table? Like I'm coming, and my thing is, I'm always trying to add value to my team. Your family is your family, and your team is your team. And I know how you think, and I think it the same way. Whether it's basketball, whether it's my family, whether what I'm going to, my main thing is to add value. I want to do my part. What value do you add?
For me, first and foremost, the very first piece of value that I add to my team is prayer.
Mhm.
It starts with a prayer life. My family know that they can't wake up in the morning and ask me a whole bunch of questions the first 30, 40 minutes of my day. I can't, I don't want to chase my day. I can't do that. So like my first thing is prayer. Then it's my devotion. Then it's my two words of affirmation apps that I go through. Then after that, I'm cool after that. I got to do a little bit of meditation. Then I'm cool after that. After that, you can rush me with a question. That's the first part of value. After that, the next thing of value is I'm a protector. I'm going to protect my family at all costs. I'm a big teddy bear. I'm a sucker for love. You know, I can be mad at you, and then you say sorry. I look at your eyes, and I really genuinely feel like you mean it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then the next thing is I'm gonna run through a wall for you, the way I would for my coach. My coach told me running through a wall to make me a better player. That's what I do. My wife telling me running through a wall make me a better husband, make me a better father. That's what I do. I spend time out my day preparing what I'm going to do. I need to send this digital press kit to this casting director. I need to send this digital press kit to this producer. I need to set up a pitch meeting for this network or that network. You know, that's how I add value. The next way is just to being a listener. And the 20 something year old lefty, I like to think I listened a lot, but I don't think I listened enough. So now I listen more to hear you more than I do to respond. The 20, you gotta remember, I got married at 23. My wife was 21, so I got married young. Um, I care more about it being right than me being right. If it's gonna be right and it's gonna be all right, then I'm okay with being wrong as long as it's gonna be right. Um, I'm the ultimate negotiator. You know, it took a month and some change to iron out my son's ABC deal, right?
Mhm.
Because I understand the power of no. And I understand the value, and my team understands the value. And so I'm bringing all of those things to the table. And more importantly, I'm not going to let you fail. I'm not going to let you sit there and be a victim and hold a pity party, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Because you are coming from an environment that you're second generation money. I'm first generation money. It's the difference.
Right.
It's the
Yeah.
big difference. What I had to fight for at my age, at your age, you don't have to fight for. I had Pat and Charlie for a living to get where I need to go. You got multiple car selections, multiple properties, and different. It's not the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I come home third grade being hungry, second grade being hungry, and then there's a padlock on the door, right? And I'm sitting on the porch waiting for mom to come to figure out, what does this mean? What does that mean?
Right.
It's not the same. My kids don't know they can't experience it. My kids know what it's like to the three of them to have their name on the deed and own property that's theirs, that's not mine or their mother's. That's
Right.
theirs, right? I wish that was so that's the value that I bring. And then I want them to bring value. One of the ways that they can bring value is by, hey, listen, you know that C's are not allowed in this house. Now, if you told me that you absolutely tried your hardest and you genuinely mean that, then I got to do everything I can to add more value to you, to help you no longer to be that C student. But if that's the best, then I got to deal with it. But C's aren't allowed in my house. The way you bring value is don't bring a C in. The way you bring value is respect your mother. I got 2 boys, 1 girl. Guard your mother's life, guard your sister's life with your life, and respect them. And I have a responsibility that when I turn the keys over to some woman someday who choose to want to marry my son, that they have a good pick of the litter, that they're not marrying a mama's boy, that they know what it means to be accountable, that they know what it means to be a man of your word, to say stand on your truth, and that's value to me. That's what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to know how old were you when you officially retired from sports, from competitive sports?
I'm not really officially retired. So I mean, I'll be 42 in October, and we're planning a show in Noxapater, Mississippi coming up.
Never heard of that.
It's not too far from Jackson.
So do you actually play in the game?
Noxapater.
Do you actually
Yeah, I'm a
play?
showman. I'm one of the
Okay.
showmen.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not like one. Like it's more like trying to deal with an understudy to get them like understanding which way we're
Right.
going. Because right now, what really gets me going right now, my kids are at a level right now where their career demands a lot of my attention.
Mhm.
And so that's pretty much what we're doing. But I'm not the only one of the Harlem Dream, so that helps.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to go look up that city. So we actually provide
Yep.
geography lessons now on the
Yeah,
podcast.
look it up. The Noxapater is not too far from Philadelphia, Mississippi. Did you know it was in Philadelphia, Mississippi?
I
Yeah.
did vaguely know that.
You should stop through Memphis, man, and grab you some barbecue, man. while you're right now.
Absolutely.
I was in a place that I never even knew in Memphis doing a show called Holly Springs. I had no
Yes.
clue.
Yeah,
Holly
I say,
Springs.
right up
what?
the street. It's
Holly
right up the
Springs-
street. Yeah.
Holly
Not Memphis, Holly Springs,
Holly Springs,
Tennessee.
No, Holly Springs,
Is
Mississippi.
that Mississippi? Excuse
Yeah.
me. Yes.
Best
Yeah.
chicken fingers in the whole wide world are in a
Had
gas
no-
station there.
Had no clue.
Y'all hear
place
that, people?
was-
Y'all hear that? She said the best chicken fingers
Best chicken fingers
at a
in this
gas station. At a gas
crappy
station. I don't know
gas
about that.
station.
I don't know
Oh,
about- hey,
yes. Oh, yes.
Make sure you eat that. If you do eat it at the gas station, eat it after the game, not before the game. You
Hey
don't
man,
know what's
I'm gonna
going
have to take your word for it because I haven't eaten meat in over a year. So I
Oh.
wouldn't
That's what's
know.
But seriously, then if you do come through Memphis, let us know. I'd love to meet you and
No, absolutely.
have
Yeah,
no meat
most
or
definitely,
have
man.
meat. Yeah.
I got
Those-
one thing, man.
Okay.
Sandy kind of asked it, but you kind of hinted toward it. What would you tell a younger you?
The 9-year-old you. What would you tell the 9-year-old you?
Man, I get emotional thinking back like that. This is almost
Let it
like
out,
a
man.
therapy.
That's why
It's
we
almost
here.
like this is almost like a therapy session, huh?
It is.
A 9-year-old me, man. I tell
Sitting there-
myself,
Sitting down on that porch with that padlock, waiting on your mom to get home. What would
It's
you
gonna
tell
make me
that person?
emotional now.
I tell my 9-year-old self that it gets better. I tell my 9-year-old self to have a lot more grace because one day you'll be in a driver's seat one day, and you'll have to make tough decisions that your dad had to make. You don't understand it now, but you will. You'll make better decisions than he did, but it won't always feel like that.
Yeah.
And at times when you don't get a lot of the praise, just remember that you're raising, you're raising the next generation of of Avengers. Like my
I
kids are
like that.
superheroes, you know? And so I tell myself to be more patient, and I tell myself you'll be glad you'll be glad that you married the person that you had just that you'll meet next year. I was 10 when I met my wife, she was 8.
Okay, I love to ask that question. How did you guys meet? You were 10,
She was my sister's best friend.
oh, and did you just look
They're no longer best friends
Oh.
anymore. But,
I
but we're
bet.
That's
still
an even
married.
better story.
But
Hey
but
man,
you know,
that's beautiful, man. I like how you said that, man. No one has ever went deep like that, and you open yourself up. Sorry, you open yourself up to us, man. And like I said, I appreciate that.
Because
oh yeah,
there are so many kids out there that have really, really rough lives. Really. And I
But
think
the
that
bad part about it is, and I'm sure every one of us have had some kind of stuff we had to deal with. Sandy, you shared yours, Errol, you shared mine, and I've had my share of mine. But when you're going through it, you don't even know you're going through it. It's just life,
it's
And
just
then you
life.
look back and be like, "Wow,
just
how
trying to
did I
get to the next
survive?"
day. Yeah, just trying to get to the next day. Take one
Yeah,
step
it was
after
just
the other.
life. It was just life. So we didn't look at it like woe is me. Once we got older, then that when you look back on it and you're like, wow, I can't believe I survived that. So my hats off to both of you guys for for being here today. And like I said, Harold, man, I know you're busy, and like I said, we appreciate you taking the time out for being on the show, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. I had a blast. I appreciate the both of you and everybody listening. Just remember, dare to dream. Failure is the road to success. Just make sure you take the right exit.
I love that. I love that. I'm gonna put that. Do you have any other
Let
questions,
them
Mike?
know what upcoming projects we got going on real quick. Let them know what you got going on real quick.
Yes, for
Right
you.
now, we're pitching a game show. Everyone tune into Firebuds on Disney Junior. My son is taking over season 2. He replaced someone, so we're working on that right now. It's almost season 2 is almost ready, but you may as well get used to seeing it now. So
That's what's up.
start
Yeah.
watching it. You can also check out Puppy Dog Pals on Disney Junior as well.
Okay.
He's the lead character, Bingo. Think of him when you're in Target and you see the little bingo drinks and all those things. Go ahead and
Yeah.
grab one. We appreciate it. And oh, my wife has a cookbook called from Mama's Kitchen.
Okay.
Her and her mother did a cookbook.
Kid,
You can order it off,
what's
off
her
Amazon.
what's her
My
name?
wife's name is Shanifa Williams,
Okay.
ShyNeefa, Shanifa Williams. Yep,
Okay.
from Mama's Kitchen.
We
It's a
will
pretty good cookbook.
That's
we will put
beautiful, man.
we'll put that in the show notes. And where can people see you in person? Like what are the upcoming
In Mississippi, in
oh the
Mississippi.
Mississippi.
not to
Uh,
not to pay. I think they're trying to do something in November. That the date has not been finalized just yet.
okay.
But it's coming up in November for sure. But you can follow us. You can go to dare the number 2, the word drain
Mhm.
.xyz. That's
Okay.
a new handle, by the way. There's
Okay.
the .coms, .orgs,
Right.
.xyz is now trending. So it's dare to dream .xyz. You can also go to harlemdreams.net, and then you
Okay.
can just follow us from there.
Oh, quick question. Because I know my wife, she did this. She grabbed all their kids' name. You being you know how people just grab names and they just hold
Hmm.
on to them and try. Did
Hmm.
you do that for your kids? Did you grab your kids as your names and you like HaroldLeftyWilliams.com, you know what I mean, or something like
Hmm.
that? Did you grab?
I did like the domain stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
ejwilliams.com,
Yeah.
CJ.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And branding is everything for me. So I
Sure.
don't really wear too much stuff that's not like, there's the hat, I got shirts, socks, I
Right.
got shoes, like, stuff like grabbing all of that stuff matters. You don't know it now, but I mean, if you're gonna pay it, it's cheaper to get it for 2 years. So let's say it's on sale for $1.99, and then
Exactly.
you said the second year is $14, whatever it is. You may as well just park it for 2 years, and you may or may not do nothing with it and just renew it every time. Oh, do I need it now? At least I got it on park where no
That's
one
right.
can grab it. That's what I do with my kids.
He's talking
Yeah,
about the domain names for anybody out
the
there.
domain. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anything else, Mike?
No, man.
Okay.
Like I said, thank you so much, man. I know you're busy, and Yeah, I had a chance to speak with your son once before, but Herb talks really highly of you, man, and your children, man, and your family in general, man. So you just keep doing a great job, man, and you make me proud, man. I know we never played
Thank
with
you,
one
man.
another, but you make me proud.
Okay,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
as we come to the end of this episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast, we want to remind everyone to give us a follow on Apple, Spotify, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor for the show, you can contact us through our website at 5thquarterpodcast.com. And if you're feeling really inspired, we'd love that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We love hearing the feedback from everyone as well. Thanks so much, Lefty. We really, really appreciate it, you being on here today.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you.
So thank you so much for joining us on this episode with our guest, Harold Lefty Williams. Until next time, remember, change is our ally and it paves the way for greatness. Stay inspired. Have a great rest of the week.